Remember, it's not knowledge that matters. It is wisdom that matters. We want for everything 1 degree. If you want to become a doctor, think before you jump. When I congratulate all the gold medalists here, I congratulate more those who did not get the gold medalists. Do you know why? It is they who made you get the gold medal. You are only comparing with them. So you got a gold medal because someone else didn't get the gold medal and someone else was not as good as you are. So this kind of education must stop, and we must have excellent education where every student says, I am better today than what I was yesterday. Every teacher says, I am better today than what I was yesterday. Every researcher says, I am better today than what I was yesterday. Because today what we have to do is, if you want to start a university or an institution, what we look for in our country is a building. We must have a big building, we must have big infrastructure, we must have laboratories, we must have this, that. When Britain, after the Second World War, wanted to start one of the best postgraduate medical institutions called Postgraduate Medical School or Hammersmith Hospital, do you know what they looked for? The Parliament decided, catch hold of the brightest 4 brains in England, in UK. So they went around the country at that time and they picked up 4 people. Sheila Sherlock in Edinburgh, she was 29 years old, she was just a fresh MD and they picked her up. Then Shafi Schaefer in London and John McMichael in Middlesex. Then they had Christopher Booth from North. And they said, start an institution. Do you know where they started? In the military barracks in Duquesne Street. Even today, the postgraduate medical school is in a military barracks. It doesn't have a proper building. But what is the quality of work that goes on? On Thursday afternoon, there is a clinical meeting in Hammersmith Hospital, which is presided over for 44 years by one man, Christopher Booth. One man presides over. And you get people from all over the world coming, presenting their peculiar cases. And you would be surprised, this man moderates everything. And everybody is shivering to come to Hammersmith Hospital to present a case. That is the quality of work. And Sheila Sherlock changed the face of liver disease. Up until Sheila Sherlock came on the scene, hepatitis was a pus in the liver. She changed it. Christopher Booth and McMichael, they wanted to show that a catheter can be pushed into the heart. So they wrote down a letter to their wives. If they died, it is not the other man's mistake, it is his own mistake. So he said, Christopher Booth, you push your catheter into my heart, I'll push my catheter into your heart. So they lied down, pushed it, and when they didn't die, they knew heart can be catheterized. So that's the kind of research you do. That's called refutative research. And I want our students to do refutative research. One more thing that we can learn, some good things we can learn from the West which you don't try to learn. All bad things we learn very quickly. Some of the institutions in the West are maintained by their alumni. You will be surprised, Harvard University and even New York University, Columbia, they're all maintained by their alumni. Now you will all become very big people. You'll become very big doctor, you'll become very big businessman, you'll probably have a corporate hospital and loot the world. But share a part of that booty with the King George's Medical College. I am also an alumnus of King George's Medical College. I am very proud of myself. I don't know if you have a very strong alumni association. And a few years ago, I got a letter saying that we have an association, come and join. So I said, okay, I came. And then it fizzled out. It's like soda water enthusiasm. When you press the cork and the ball goes down, it comes out like that. And then settles down, like the beer that settles down. That should not be the thing. I want a very strong alumni association in KGMC, which will maintain and probably partly share the expenses of the university as well as its development and research. One more thing. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations for where you are today. But remember, you will be an ambassador of King George's Medical College all over the world for the rest of your life. Don't monkey around. Whatever you do, the society looks at you and says, he is a Georgian. And to be a Georgian is a pride. And maintain that with, what is the greatest quality of a human brain? Educated human brain? Humility. The higher you go, the humbler you should be. There's a small little stanza in my language, Kannada, which says, Yeruvanu Ravi, sun goes up, Kattalodane Jagaladuvan, fighting the darkness. Yeridantele chikkavanagi toruvan. When he goes up, he becomes smaller and smaller. Yeridavanu chikkavanagirabeke emba matanu jagake saruvan. When you go up, you must be humbler, is the message that sun gives to you every morning. You see the sun in the morning is so big. When he goes up, he's become smaller and smaller and smaller. And as he goes up, he becomes very small. So friends, today you are MD, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and all kinds of things. We are degree mad people in India. We want for everything 1 degree. 1 degree for after. See, if you go to London, England, there's no degree if you want to specialize. You must be a specialist register, for which you have to have training. It's only training that gives you. Today here nothing. You get your MBBS by mugging the book, and then sit again in the library to get the entrance test mugging. You hardly see the patients. You hardly don't want to get any experience. Then you get another degree. You get MD. Then you again mug up and get a DM, and then you call yourself a specialist and immediately become a specialist without a day's experience. Remember, it's not knowledge that matters. It is wisdom that matters. Wisdom requires lot of experience, lot of thinking, lot of anubhuti. You know anubhuti? Making mistakes and learning from it. Anubhava is what you do. A lot of people say, I got 40 years of anubhava as teacher. You must be the same as that you were 40 years ago that you are today also. But I have got 40 years anubhuti means I have suffered and learned from my mistakes and become a better man every day. I want you to have anubhuti before you call yourself a specialist. Don't call yourself a specialist tomorrow because you got a degree. This is only in India that we see the day you get a degree, you become a specialist. In the West, you got to have training, experience. It's the experience that matters. And I was so happy to see. Today I met your head of the department of cardiac surgery. And this gentleman was with my son-in-law. Both of them were in Birmingham Hospital, in QU2 Hospital in Birmingham, doing cardiac surgery training. And asked him, what is the kind of people that they have for cardiac surgery? And there's so much of humility, I tell you. When I was a trainee in the Middlesex Hospital Medical School, we had a cardiac surgeon. She was a big woman. She was like a man. Miss Shepherd was her name. She's 6 feet tall and always smoking a cigarette. So I used to ask her, Mary, you are a cardiothoracic surgeon, and you know one of the important causes of cancer lung is. She said, I just want to get cancer lung and die. That's why I'm smoking. And that's the kind of woman she was. And she would do valve replacement, I remember still, and then keep the patient in the intensive care unit for 1 week. Patient can't come out of the ICU for 1 week. Then came a young, dashing young man picked up by the National Heart Hospital. Magdi Yaqub was his name. He is an Egyptian who came to England to study and then settled down there as a cardiac surgeon. And Magdi would do a valve replacement today and make the patient walk tomorrow. Now look at the ego. Mary never said anything. One day Mary told me, she called me and said, look, I'm not doing valve replacements from tomorrow. Let Magdi do it. He's a better hand than me. See, that's the humility I want you to develop. What we would have done, you're jealous of because Magdi is her assistant. She is the boss. And she would never admit that Magdi is better than her. But here is a lady who says, Magdi is better than me. Let Magdi do what I'll not do. I'll do something else. That's the kind of people we must develop to go on in this world. Now, friends, I'll have to remind you something. Your parents have looked after you so well. They supported you, they loved you, they even funded you, which happens only in India. And today you are somebody. Please don't forget them when they are old. Don't send them like West to the old age home. You know what misery they have in the old age home. They may have money, they may have comforts, but they are not happy. I had a patient when I was a cardiac registrar in London. This old lady had a cardiac failure, getting repeatedly admitted, and she had so many tablets and so much money. One day she told me and called me and said, Professor Hegde, I don't want any one of these. Please tell the NHS not to spend so much money on me. You know what I want? I want to see my son's face once. He left me 28 years ago and went and settled in Australia. Never come back to see me. I want to go there. I don't have money. All these tablets can be sold in the market and get me one return ticket to Australia, and my heart failure will disappear. Can you believe that? And that's the kind of love they are missing. Please look after your parents as long as you live, because as long as they live. And don't let them suffer in the intensive care unit at the last days. If you think their end is almost there, leave them in peace with their near and dear ones and to die in dignity. Today, death has lost its dignity because the last 10 days in the intensive care unit in corporate hospitals in America, makes 90% of their profit. So you keep the patient in the intensive care unit, put him in a monitor, and then put him on the respirator, and he is dead, but the monitor goes on. And then you say, oh, there's a moral responsibility. When do I stop it? How can I kill him? This is the problem. In the first place, you killed him in the long ago when you put it in that machine. But now you say you don't want to stop that machine. Then you go to the court and say, court must give a judgment as to when machine has to be stopped. So look after your parents. Now parents, look after your children as long as you live. Because today your responsibility is not over because your child has got a degree. You have to give the same love, care and compassion for your child as long as you live, because that is what keeps them going. It's mutual love between the parents and the children that keeps you going. Now the third thing is, for all the other students aspiring to come to this medical school, I always tell you, if you want to become a doctor, think before you jump. First find out if you are comfortable looking after the sick. Many of us are not. And many of us would not have, because I get mad when students come to me and say, sir, it's a very interesting case for clinics. What is interesting? The young boy of 16 dying of heart failure with 4-valve disease and lot of murmurs there. They say interesting. I said, I want you to think for a minute, empathize with that boy. You lie down in that bed with all your 4 valves gone. And do you want me to say you are very interesting? You wouldn't want. So have some sympathy. I always tell doctors jokingly, whether you're allopath, homeopath, umapath or whatever, have sympathy and empathy, you will be a good doctor. So the most important quality of a good doctor is a good human being. I want a doctor to be a good human being so that patients develop faith in you. You don't demand faith, you command faith. I always say, we have teachers who say, when I go to the class, sir, students don't stand up. Why don't you pass a rule saying that everybody should stand up when a teacher enters the class? I said, no, your stature must be such that the student can't sit when you enter the class. I still remember the days when Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan was the Vice Chancellor of the Benares Hindu University. Whenever he walks into the office, everybody will stand automatically. Nobody is asked to stand, but they stand automatically because they respect his stature as a teacher. They respect his stature as a educationist. Today, educationist is one who owns an educational institution. That's not educationist. Education is a real man who has done some hard work in the educational field. I want you to do that. And I want you to come up and become that. Now let me congratulate the parents for their children's success. Let me congratulate the teachers. It's the teachers who are responsible. William Harvey Osler said, it's not the buildings, it's not the brick, it's not the mortar, it's not the money that makes. It makes men and women of stature who have the good of their students at heart and work day and night to bring out a best student in the institution. They are the ones most respected. So, you respected faculty members present here, you are responsible for what these boys and girls are. So, congratulations for you. Keep up that good work. Institutions are built with men and women of quality, and I want you to be men and women of quality so that you deserve that name as a teacher. Lastly, the administrators, who are very important. And I found your Vice Chancellor, whom I met yesterday, a very good human being because he's humble. That's the greatest quality. I don't consider PhD, MD, MS, DN as. I say a humble person is an educated person. An arrogant person is an illiterate. That's why our ancestors said, Vidya dadati vinaya, Vidya vinaya sampanna. And that is the quality I want. And here is a Vice Chancellor who is humble. So he is a right example for the students. Follow him. I have finished my 600 seconds given to me. So, I have stopped because we teachers used to go by the calendar, not by the clock. And we start the class today and end tomorrow. But now I have started what Thomas Jefferson was told by his uncle when he became the President of the United States of America. He said, Tom, now don't have your long-winded speeches. You stand up, speak up and sit up. So I have followed that now. I stand up, speak up and now I sit up. Thank you very much. Once again, let me thank your Vice Chancellor and your university for having the faith in me and calling me for the convocation. And I'm proud to say that this is the second convocation address that I'm giving in this university. I was here for a convocation address in the past when someone else was the Vice Chancellor. I still remember the day when I was given an honorary doctorate by the Tirupati Institute of Medical Sciences, a new university like KGMC which started in Andhra Pradesh. And I had not known anyone there. And a lady was the Vice Chancellor. So I went and told her, how did I get this honor? Why did you call me? She said, did you know me? Or did anybody? I didn't know. I have not been influencing. I have not talked to anybody. She said, no, sir. I had so much of pressure from my academic council to give you an honorary degree that I couldn't help it. I didn't want to give, but I couldn't help it. So here you are. I still remember that because, it sometimes happens, you just wonder what happens. And I was wondering, I had a stroke recently. I couldn't speak, I couldn't walk. Now, thank God, I have come back because all my students were my doctors, my nurses, and my physiotherapists. And they saw to it that I recovered and I have come back. Thank God for that. I don't know. Nobody knows the future because only God knows that. But right now, I am able to talk and stand. And today, I had my endurance test because morning I stood for 1 hour and spoke. And then for 2 hours, they ate my head. They were asking me questions. They wouldn't tell me. And I went to my hotel at about 2 o'clock. Then they said, Governor Saab is coming. Come quickly. So very quickly, I had this fancy dress changing. And one other thing that I liked about this university is it was I who first started the movement against the Western dress in Indian convocations when I became the Vice Chancellor. My whole university was against me. But I got a designing institution in Ahmedabad, fashion designers, and made them look at the convocation dresses of Nalanda and Taxila universities and got that made for our university. And I refused to wear the gowns, that fancy dress that you have for convocations and that funny hat. Whenever they called me for a convocation address, I refused to have that. I used to have my dress only. But here, I asked the Vice Chancellor yesterday, he said, no sir, you come in whatever dress you want to come, we'll give you a shawl. I was so happy, I tell you. I said, here is a university which is trying to be Indian. And I am so proud it's my university. And that's my happiness, Doctor. But thank you very much for that. I tell you, we look so good in our dress. I want to see these girls in a beautiful sari and the boys and girls in that nice dress which our governor has, that kind of I want that full sleeve shirt, khadi made shirt, and then probably a pajama or even a kacha. We have a kacha, a nice kacha, and a cap which is ours, Gandhi cap. Instead we have this ecumenical dress, not a university dress. Mind you, the Western universities were not educational institutions, they were churches. In the 12th century, they all became universities. And you have the same dress, same designation, chancellor, vice chancellor, deacon, registrar, dean. These are all church nomenclatures. We continue the same thing. We don't say Kuladipati, Kulapati. We don't like that. We still want the Western things. Vice chancellor. I don't know what is. Chancellor with vices or the other way around. So let us be Indian. Let us think Indian. Because India is great. You don't know what India is. You go to the West, they want India. One scientist told me, a great scientist who is Nobel laureate told me, look, whatever I have done in physics is from the Vedas. I have got everything from the Vedas. And he wrote that in his paper. He has written a paper for you. Matter is not made out of matter. Please go to the internet this evening. Matter is not made out of matter. His name is Hans Peter Dürr. Hans Peter Dürr, D-U-R-R. And see that paper where he writes. I said energy is matter, matter is energy because there is no matter. I found there is no matter when I was searching for matter. But this was said by the Indian sages thousands of years ago as Advaita. And he says this one stanza which I am quoting from the Upanishad through the Bhagavad Gita says whole of quantum physics. Bahirantasya bhutanam charam acharamevacha sukshmavate tavijnayam durastam cha aniketa cha tat. That tat was misinterpreted as God and the whole science disappeared. Tat is electron. And you can't see God because you can't see electron. Why can't you see an electron? Let's see anybody here. Any student? Why can't you see an electron? You can't see God, you can't see electron. Have you seen the wind? Christina, an American poet, writes, who has seen the wind? Neither you nor I. But the wind blows and the trees bend and dance, the wind is passing by. Who has seen God? Neither you nor I. But when you are in trouble, you feel God. And same way, electron cannot be seen, because when you look at an electron, to be seen, a few photons will have to leave it. If one photon leaves an electron, it no longer remains the same electron. So nobody has seen an electron. But they have described the electron in various ways and got Nobel Prizes. That's all the Western science. And science has to change, my dear friends. Science is change. And medical science has to change. And medical science's future is in integration of all systems of medicine. In the healing art, there isn't anything called cure. Hippocrates wrote, cure rarely, comfort mostly, but console always. But cure, you can't cure, but you can heal. Healing is making you whole. Even common cold cannot be cured, but you can be healed even with cancer. I have had patients with cancer who are healed, who have made a life again and lived forever. Thank you very much once again. God bless you.